Most writers treat a twist villain like a cheap jump scare. They hide the antagonist behind a mask, pull it off in the third act, and expect the reader to gasp. But let us be absolutely clear on one structural reality. A hidden identity is not a twist, it is merely a withheld fact. If your villain is simply waiting at the end of the narrative road to surprise you protagonists, your plot is already dead on arrival. Today we are opening the file on David Fincher's Seven, the film. We are not looking at the gore and we are not looking at the shock value. We are examining the structural architecture of John Doe because John Doe isn't just a character within the story. He designed the story. Welcome back to the Autopsy table. Today you will learn the no exit rule. If you master this specific forensic technique, you readers won't just be surprised by your antagonist. They will feel utterly, helplessly trapped by them. So this is this week's episode. Please like, comment and subscribe for more episodes and definitely more autopsies. To understand the no exit rule, we must first categorize the antagonist. The vast majority of psychological thrillers utilize what I call a reactive villain. The villain commits a crime, the detective chases them, and the villain scrambles to evade capture. They are engaged in a perpetual tug of war. The narrative power is shared. John Doe in Seven is entirely different. He is an architect antagonist. He does not react to detectives Somerset and Mills. He anticipates them. He requires them. A reactive villain scurries in the shadows. An architect antagonist builds the house and locks the front door. Look closely at the pacing of the reveals in the second act. Doe turns himself in precisely when he chooses to. Covered in blood, walking calmly into a police precinct filled with armed officers, he surrenders. Why? Because the architect antagonist knows that the only way to truly break a protagonist is not to overpower them physically, but to force them to participate in their own psychological destruction. So I want you to write this down. Your villain's master plan should not fall apart when the detective finds them. The master plan should require the detective to find them. If your villain's grand design hinges on them never making a mistake, they are structurally fragile. John Doe builds a system where getting caught is step 5 of 7. He weaponizes the detective's competence. Mill's aggression and Somerset's intellect are the very tools Doe uses to complete his masterpiece. He turns the heroes into his own instruments. Before we reach the climax, we must look at the environmental architecture. In our shining autopsy, we discussed the setting as an active predator. In 7, the setting is an apathy engine. Notice the weather. It rains relentlessly for the entire first and second acts of the narrative. The city is nameless, suffocating, and morally decaying. This isn't just a stylistic choice to make the film look moody. It is a deliberate psychological wearing down of both the characters and the audience. Somerset is exhausted by the apathy of the world. He is a man counting down the days until his retirement. Mill Mills is naive enough to believe he can punch his way through the rot. The setting isolates them both. It creates a vacuum of hope. By the time the rain finally stops in the third act, and they drive out into the sun-bleached open desert, the audience feels a false sense of relief. The visual shift from dark, claustrophobic rain to bright, open space lowers our guard. You must use your setting to manipulate your reader's nervous system. Give them a moment to breathe. Let them believe the claustrophobia has lifted, right before you remove the oxygen from the room entirely. We arrive at the box, the desert, the final two scenes. Most amateur writers believe the brilliance of these endings relies on the shock value of what is inside the cardboard box. That is entirely incorrect. The brilliance is the execution of the no exit rule. The no exit rule dictates that in the final confrontation, all possible choices available to the protagonist must result in the antagonist's ultimate victory. It is a moral checkmate. Let's dissect the variables in front of Detective Mills. Option A. Mills shoots John Doe. If he does this, he embodies the sin of wrath. Doe becomes a martyr. The masterpiece of 7 sins is perfectly completed, and Doe wins. Option B. Mills put the gun down. If he does this, he has to live with the unmanageable, paralyzing grief of his pregnant wife's murder without enacting justice. He is spiritually broken, his career is over, and Doe still successfully proves his point about the apathy and rot of the world. Doe wins again. Do you see the architecture? A cheap twist villain gives the hero a way out if they are just clever enough or strong enough or fast enough. An architect antagonist traps the hero in a paradox. The twist isn't who is the killer. The true twist is the protagonist realizing they were part of the murder weapon all along. It is time to apply these forensics to your own manuscript. This week's syllabus requires one specific actionable step. Look at your third act. I want you to strip away the dialogue, the action sequences, and the superficial twist. Look purely at the mechanics of the final confrontation. Does your protagonist have a clean way to defeat your villain? If they can shoot the bad guy, save the day, and walk away with their morals perfectly intact, you haven't written a psychological thriller. You have written an action movie. Force your protagonist into the no-exit trap. Make the cost of defeating the villain so impossibly high that it permanently scars the psychology. That is how you write an ending that haunts your reader for years after they close the book. So if you found this autopsy useful, your next lesson is already queued up on the slab. We are heading into the psychiatric ward to dissect Shutter Island again and exactly why you unreliable narrators are failing to trick your readers. Click the video on your screen to enter the syllabus. Until next time, keep your narratives dark and your twist inescapable, and please like, comment and subscribe for more lessons. Until then, my friends, take great care.